The lame duck session of the Michigan Legislature is not making much news this year.
Political reporter Rick Alvin is here now to tell us why the sometimes active time for lawmakers is so subdued this time around.
Yeah, and there's one real big reason we'll get to in just a minute. You know, every 4 years when the election is over, and there are a number of members finishing their tenure in both the House and the Senate, there's something called lame duck session. That's when outgoing members and the ones that are coming back as well, and the ones that are leaving generally because of term limits, have a chance to vote on unfinished priorities and unfinished business, and sometimes with dubious results. 4 years ago, when Republicans were exiting the executive office and also in charge of the legislature, Democrats were about to take power for the first time in 8 years, and legislators went on a marathon spending spree, much to the chagrin of incoming Governor Gretchen Whitmer. This year, as Democrats prepare to take over the levers of power that they have previously not held for decades and consolidate their influence in state government, Republican legislators are not pushing much in the way of dramatic legislation, knowing that nothing of much substance that they want will be signed by the Democratic governor, and any priorities she has can wait until January, when her own party will be in control of the House and the Senate, and presumably give her what she wants without having to negotiate with Republicans. At least that's how it looks on the paper. Till you look a little closer, the Democrats will be in charge, but with the narrowest of majorities. And it'll remain to be seen how effectively they'll be able to keep their caucuses together in the House and Senate to achieve long-sought goals of their party. In the meantime, it's time for tributes for outgoing staff members and farewell speeches by members who have dominated 2 quiet session days in Lansing this week. And while that could change, in fact, there's some caucusing going on right now, there's real no indication that any type of an agreement on something meaningful like tax relief or other spending of billions of dollars of surplus will develop before many members leave Lansing for the last time.
Yeah, Ricky, talk about the staff leaving. With that change of power, there's going to be a big change in the staffing.
Yeah, there really is. I really had never thought about it numerically. When you're in the majority, you have considerably more staff. It's central staff, it's leadership staff, it's all of that. Republicans have had that, particularly in the Senate, for about 40 years. And so now they're going to have, as Republicans, many fewer staffers. So that means a lot of staffers are leaving. On the other hand, for Democrats, they've got to come up with new positions they haven't had to fill in decades. Now, there are plenty of qualified people, and there may even be some crossover, but a lot of those are going to be partisan positions that, while they aren't partisan on paper, it would be people of a like mind that you would want to hire to work in those offices. So that's a big deal right now, staffing, and that's going to be a challenge to get everybody in the position you want, and also a challenge for some of those people who find themselves newly not on staff.
Sure. It's going to look a lot different.
It's going to be an interesting
January.
year in Lansing. It really is, even if this lame duck session isn't so interesting.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.